Hi, it's Dr. Jim Vermillier from Cognitive Behavior Therapy Associates again, talking to you now about irrational beliefs. So the study of irrational beliefs really, has been something that's been ongoing for many, many years. A psychologist named Albert Ellis founded the Institute in New York for Study of Irrational Beliefs at one point in time, and it's still there. It's an Institute for Cognitive Therapy, I think it's called. But Ellis's idea was that people develop irrational beliefs, and those beliefs actually govern a lot of behavior. Not only depression, but things like, social phobia, odd thoughts that people have about themselves, body dysmorphia, all kinds of different things have different beliefs which lie at the center of those problems. Some examples of irrational beliefs that people often have are things like overgeneralization. And overgeneralization can be seen when you are talking to someone or you see someone who has, something happen, something small, and they say, "Oh, that always happens," okay, or "that happens everywhere." All right, they're overgeneralizing from one particular instance to a broad number of different circumstances. So they might say, "Oh, I went out on a date last night and it didn't work out well. None of my dates work out well." So that's overgeneralization. In cognitive therapy, the dialogue is, well, how many dates have you had? And find out how many dates the person's had, and then we look at, have they really all gone, not well? And the person will say, well, maybe there were a few that were okay, and we actually start to collect evidence and try and challenge that belief. There are also some other techniques in terms of self-monitoring and writing that people can do that help them change these kinds of irrational beliefs as well. Another type of cognitive distortion might be all or nothing thinking. And this is the notion that, your either day is either good or bad. You're either an A student or you're a failure. You're either, a great person or a bad person. And this is related to another cognitive distortion that we call black and white thinking, where the person really can't kind of see gradations of things. They can't admit that, you know what, hey, I've got some bad things that I don't like about myself, but by and large, I'm a great person. Or might not be able to say that, you know what, my job, yeah, I don't like it sometimes, but 9/10 of it is really good. Okay, or I don't like I don't like a group of particular people, but there's some people in there that I actually enjoy meeting with or socializing with. So this kind of tendency to make force things into categories can be something that really robs us of opportunities to enjoy different aspects of things. Another example of a cognitive distortion would be minimization or minimizing the positive. And this is something that people do all the time. I think, in fact, in some ways, it's something that we're trained to do. When we're kids, our parents or others might say, not to be proud or not to show off or, to be modest. So you might hear people or yourself sometimes when you're being complimented, people say, "Oh, no, that was nothing," or, "that's no big deal." And minimizing these positives that we receive actually deprives us of the beneficial effects of those positive events. Another distortion would be, maximizing the negative or kind of having a negative focus. This is kind of the glass is half empty or even less philosophy. And here, people really kind of disqualify the positive and accentuate the negative. So your boss could tell you, "Hey, I thought you did a really good job last weekend at that special event that we had, and we took in $1,000 for this charity. One thing I think that we could do better in the future, though, is that the lines were a little long and we might have lost a few donors." The person who tends to have a negative focus might block out everything that the boss said that was positive and only focus on the fact that I screwed up, I failed, I didn't make sure that the lines were short enough, my boss thinks terribly of me. See, they focus on the negative, when in fact the vast majority of that feedback was positive. So there are a lot of different cognitive distortions like this that can affect people. One good source for taking a look at this is a book called Feeling Good, The New Mood Therapy by Dr. David Burns, MD. It's in paperback. You can probably get it at most bookstores. It's very popular and can be helpful to just kind of get a sense for, this is something that I'm doing or isn't it? This definitely plays a role in all kinds of different problems that people experience. And in general, if you do this a lot, it's not something that's going to make you very happy. I should say that people do this casually all the time. And if it doesn't make a difference, if it's not impacting your mood, it's really not an issue. An example of this would be that, in New England, we love to complain about the weather. There's one thing about the New England weather is that if you don't like it, wait, it'll change. But when it rains, people say, oh, it's been raining for a week, and it might only be 2 days. This is just something that people do kind of to dramatize their conversation. And if it's not bothersome to you or doesn't have a major life impact, don't try to challenge people on these things. It's not something that they're going to appreciate. Okay? So again, this was about irrational beliefs and kind of their role in cognitive behavioral therapy. And this is Dr. Jim Vermillier.